Yeah. I started caving when I was 10 years of age. I'm very, very lucky to have been born and raised here. And luckier still, I guess, that my father thought that to take me underground and show me what some of the wonders that exist here. It is the most peaceful environment anywhere on earth. You might hear the occasional drip of water dropping off a stalactite into some little puddle or pool on the floor. It's pitch black, and occasionally we do find unusual creatures that live there. I've caved all over the world, but here in Wales, I think my favourite cave is Danarogov in the Swansea Valley, and I found a mile or two of passage there, being the first explorer. Absolutely magical. Even though I've found more miles in the local caves here, Danarogov is very special. But I've explored caves in the Nullarbor plains of Australia, Iran, Brazil, Canada, all over really. There is a certain wonder in caves that you just don't find on the surface. It's an incredible mix of, the opportunities to see things that so few other people will ever see. It's the sporting challenge. Yes, there is a sporting challenge to it, and there is very much, from my perspective, an element of, wow, I could be the very first person to find a stretch of cave, which is every explorer's dream. And you can't do that anywhere on earth now. All the mountains have been climbed. Everest, you name it, K2, it doesn't matter what mountains you're talking about, they've all been climbed in summer and winter by paraplegics and whereas caving is an environment where it's still very, very much an unknown world. And I'm very proud and privileged to have taken the princes, Prince William and Prince Harry, caving. They're the only British caver ever to have done this, back after William was just started at university. The family have strong ties to the Usk Valley here, and so one particular lady who hosts the members of the royal family came around to see me and just knocked on my door and said, "Martyn, I'd like you to take the princes caving." So it just came about like that, and he thought, whoa. I said, well, can I bring extra support, because obviously the responsibility is quite considerable? And the answer was, no, you can't do that. It's just got to be you. We've got to keep this quiet. I apologise for the accent. But no, it was a great privilege, and the lads were fantastic. Yeah. Climate change is affecting caving, and certainly in the Arctic, the ice sheets covering Greenland, for example, are receding and revealing new cave systems there that have never been seen until this present period of time. But of a more pressing and immediate concern to cavers generally, anywhere in the world, is perhaps the greater potential for a sudden cloudburst or thunderstorm, intense heavy rainfall, which can flood the caves dramatically, and obviously flooding is arguably the caver's greatest risk.
Yeah. What would you do in a situation where, like, if the rain was coming in and you were unable to?
Cool, blimey. Yeah, now there's another good one. So in 1973, again, I'm talking a long time ago, because I've learned from these events, myself and a friend were going to explore for the original exploration that we're placed with nobody had ever been before, a flooded section deep underneath the Yorkshire Dales cave near Ingleton. And it was raining outside when we went in. It was an August day and raining, but weather forecasts in those days weren't as good as they are today. We went in, we weren't perturbed, we were fit, we were young, we were fast, competent, and the rest of it. We had to climb down a ladder, a 20-foot ladder, to get into this streamway. And the ladder pitch itself was a long way underground. And we got dropped into the streamway. Water levels were just that deep, less than a foot deep. And we got up to just about where we were going to start diving. And I said to my mate, "Hey, the water level's rising." And we were looking at the wall, and the water was coming up the wall. And you just know this is a terrifying event, experience to note. And I said, we got to get out. So we turned around and we're heading down this streamway now as fast as our legs will carry us. And then it's coming up faster and faster, the water. And so I thought, well, this diving equipment's no use to us now. I pushed mine into a tiny crack, just jammed it in. And then ran off down the passage behind my mate, who was still carrying his equipment. And then the water level came up and up and up. And eventually the water level came up 20 feet. And we're swimming in the roof of this passage, just our heads just right at roof level, and on the roof is foam and grass, and you think, the place floods completely. We've got to get out. And it was a miracle. And when we swam out higher than the top of our ladder that we'd put in to drop into the streamway. And in the course of our emergency exit, my friend's diving equipment, he lost it got washed away, and but we got out. And as we got back to the entrance, we met rescuers coming to look for us right at the entrance, and they weren't prepared to come in because at the entrance there was only that much airspace, and so we knew that they were the other side of it, so just held your breath and just and plopped through. So you think to yourself, whoa, we were lucky there. And I went in next day, recovered my diving equipment from the crack in the wall, and went down the streamway to where the water disappeared into another flooded section. I dived into that and found and recovered my mate's diving equipment. So it all turned out well. And we were a lot wiser after the event. Yeah, like in 1974, up on this mountain up here, I lost a very good friend, the same guy who'd been in the incident in the flooded cave where we went down the 20-foot ladder. Yeah, his body is still in the cave. And but then in those days, breaking the rules, we broke all the rules. Every rule you could imagine, we were breaking them. And so it was bound to come to grief, I suppose. And I'm here to be able to say that really training is very important for all these activities now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anybody wishing to get into cave diving would be strongly advised to join a caving club first, a dry caving club, and to learn the rudiments of dry caving, and then quietly progress into the world of underwater activities, for which you would also need to be a highly experienced diver. So you'd have to, obtain diving qualifications as well. As caving taught me a lot, wow, that's an amazing question, isn't it? Has caving taught me a lot? Well, I think it's taught me an incredible amount. Like being independent, being resourceful, adaptive, reflective, and kind and considerate. Yeah, I think I've learned a lot, and I've learned it all the hard way, I think, as well. Yeah.
I guess you would be one of them, but other people I can think of when I
woodpeckers.
started
There's a great
caving,
spotted there.
Who,
You're that peeping? He's just on the branch
you read in the caving
above the
magazine.
wind chime up on the left.
Wow, this is, and the guy who used to run the caving
He's
shop
just
down in
annoyed.
Wells, it was just lovely.
Can you see him?
And I pitched up and said, I've got a cave down here and I don't know what I'm doing. And he just spent ages talking to me, advising me where to go, things like that. And he was just brilliant. So, yeah, very, very accommodating, friendly people.